Hello and welcome to my October wrap-up. In October I read a total of 5 books, 2 audiobooks, 1 ebook and 2 physical books. The first book I read was Wayward Son by Rowell. This is the sequel to Carry On, which follows a boy named Simon who is supposedly this savior who goes to magic school, and his roommate is his enemy, and he suspects that his roommate is a vampire. There's this threat in the society they live in, the magic society, by the name the Humdrum, I think is pronounced. And it's about, or Carry On is about how Simon defeats it. And this book, Wayward Son, is the aftermath, the happily ever after, how something can affect a hero after such a thing has happened. That happens in Carry On. And I really liked this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I really appreciated how we saw Simon deal with the consequences that lived off in Carry On, with his health, mental health, and physical health too, actually. And I just really like to see behind the scenes of a hero. I've seen a couple of reviews that say that the tone is different in this book, and it's 100% right. The tone is very different, but I think the tone had to be different to cover the topics and what the storyline is going through. It had to be a bit different, and I really enjoy it. The second book I finished this month was The Shattered Gates by Hale. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't quite understand yet what's going on, and that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, because I enjoyed the atmosphere and I enjoyed the writing style and the characters, but I just don't know what's going on, and I'm a bit confused as to the storyline. And I started reading the second book afterwards, and it makes more sense now. So I think it feels like the book was put up into parts, and part 1 was the first book and part 2 is the second book, and so on. So it's a big book together, and then you're just really confused and have to read on to figure out what's going on. It's interesting, and that's why I'm continuing, but it was still very confusing as to the first book, and that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. And I read this on ebook. Yeah. The third book I read this month I listened to, and that was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I listened to this on audiobook, as I mentioned, and the one with Stephen Fry, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the small sound effect detail they put into the audiobook of this one, especially when the snake is talking. They have this ambience, they change the voice to they alter the voice so it sounds a bit more snake-like or otherworldly, and I think it was just such an amazing read, and I really enjoyed the audiobook of this one. I could highly recommend it, and of course I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because it's Harry Potter, and this was a reread. Of course, I've read the book physically before, and this time I tried to listen to them because I've heard amazing things about the audiobooks, especially the Stephen Fry audiobooks. The fourth book I read this month was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, and I listened to this on audiobook as well by Stephen Fry, and it was amazing too. Personally, Prisoner of Azkaban has always been my favorite movie, and I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook too. When I read it, I really liked it too, but the vibe and the feeling you get when you watch the movie, the creepy feeling, you get also in the audiobook more so than when you physically read it. So I really enjoyed that part of my reread, that it gave me a sense of the movie, the feeling the movie gave me, but it's actually the book in audio form. I really enjoyed that. And this was, of course, also 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in October was Mooncakes by Wendy Xu and Suzanne Walker. Suzanne Walker? Suzanne Walker. This is a graphic novel about a witch and a werewolf, and it's queer, it's entertaining, it's fun, and it's cute, and the art style is very pretty, and it's just such a nice, comfortable read. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I really, really enjoyed reading this book. It was very fun to read. I just thought that it lacked a bit in the oomph. I didn't have that oomph feeling about it, but it was still an amazing read. I highly recommend it for others who's interested in graphic novels, and especially queer graphic novels. Then this one is the one for you. And this is also very fall, Halloweenish vibes, because it's about a witch and a werewolf, and they bake mooncakes and they fight evil and develop a relationship. Spoilers, but not. But yeah, it was very nice and I really enjoyed it. So that's it for the books I read in October. It wasn't the best reading month for me. I've read more books other months, but I've also been very busy this month, so I'm happy that I managed to at least finish 5 books. I'm still ahead of my Goodreads reading challenge, so I'm not worried at all. Some months they're just slower than other months, and yeah. Comment down below if you have read any of these books and if you agree with me or disagree, how you thought about them. And so, thank you so much for watching and see you soon, hopefully.